Alrighty, folks, we're back at it again with another stream. Got a lot of good, well, not good, but a lot of interesting articles to talk about today. Just, the usual craziness going on within our fucked up world. Give me a second here and we'll get right into it. Thanks for coming back. Yeah. Okay. So, our first article is about the US's escalation with China in kind of further recognizing Taiwan as its own separate country and giving them military aid and doing all of these political stunts. And I honestly have no idea why they're doing this. It seems just like shooting yourself in the foot, We're going to get into the article. We're going to break it down. Let's do it. So our first article comes from Jacobin. It's an article by Branko Marcetic. The U.S.'s Taiwan policy could provoke another dumb and dangerous war. Last week, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee approved by a 17-5 vote the Taiwan Policy Act, called by its authors the most comprehensive restructuring of U.S. policy towards Taiwan since the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, which was to set the ground rules for U.S. relations with Taiwan after Washington reestablished diplomatic ties with the mainland. The new bill's headline provisions entail a change in U.S. policy to treat Taiwan as a major non-NATO ally, and to that end, authorize $6.5 billion worth of military aid for training, equipment, and weapons, as well as prepare for a suite of sanctions should a Chinese attack on the country materialize. So again, I don't see the strategic value of doing this. All this is going to do is anger China, and in my opinion, make them more aggressive towards Taiwan, make them feel like they have a shorter window of opportunity to unify Taiwan with the mainland, and just further divide the world, man. And China is a major exporter to the U.S., obviously. So, this could cause economic harm for the U.S. and Western countries. This could cause geopolitical instability. Like the only reason I could see why these freaking neocon warhawks are trying to push this bullshit is again just for the sake of saber rattling and trying to appear strong when they feel like the U.S. is weakening, The text of the bill was reportedly changed after Joe Biden's administration expressed concerns that its original language would shred the One China policy that's underlain stable and peaceful relations between Beijing and Washington for decades. Rather than being designated a major non-NATO ally, as the bill's text put first, Taiwan will now be treated as though it were designated the label, and there's no longer a direction to change the name of what is effectively Taiwan's U.S. embassy, but rather a recommendation. At the same time, lawmakers have added $2 billion more military aid to the regional sum of $4 million. They can switch around the words all they want. What they're doing is escalation. Make no mistake about it, I disagree. I love this new language, but you and I are wildly different. I def see what you mean, man. Shit. Wait, I disagree. I love this new language. Oh, you love this new language. I don't know if you're being sarcastic again, but I really don't think it changes much. You had Pelosi go and meet with Taiwan leadership, and then you had people riding her coattails doing the same bullshit. I think keeping Taiwan out of Chinese hands is super important. I disagree, man. I don't want them to be in Chinese hands. I think they're their own country at this point and should just do whatever they feel like doing. But I don't think it's worth risking war over Taiwan. If China does decide to invade Taiwan and try and take control over it, there is going to be destruction and devastation. But if the U.S. tries to militarily intervene, then it's just going to be, like I've said before, literally World War III, and nobody wants that. That's not going to end well, you know. Yeah, man, you know, that's just how I feel about the situation. Yeah, so these changes haven't reassured the Chinese government, which still views the bill as a challenge to the One China policy. That careful diplomatic arrangement involves Washington's recognition of Beijing as the sole legitimate government of all of China while remaining agnostic on the question of which government is sovereign over Taiwan and opposing the island's absorption back into the mainland force. The One China principle is the political foundation of China-U.S. relations, China's foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said in the wake of the bill's approval. According to its proponents, the rationale of the bill is to serve as credible deterrence against China. Supposedly, this will reduce the chance of a military offensive by Beijing against the island by not showing weakness in the face of Chinese threats and by raising the cost of taking the island force so that it becomes too high a risk and unachievable. And again, like I said, if shit like this ends up happening, or if China feels slighted enough to put pressure on the U.S., I mean, it could even more severely hamper the U.S. economy and further extend and exacerbate the economic downturn that we're going through. Because, like I said, we heavily rely on China for trade, and most of the world heavily relies on China for trade. So it's just not smart, man. It really isn't. I always advocate for building bridges internationally instead of burning them, man, you know? But as former U.S. Naval War College professor Lyle Goldstein told Jacobin last month, the bill could easily have the opposite effect, leading Chinese leadership to decide that invading now is its best option, since ever-intensifying U.S. military support for the island may make delaying a potential invasion more costly for it. Even one of the yes votes on the Senate committee, Senator Mitt Romney, explicitly acknowledged the risk. We're doing something that's highly provocative and bellicose, and just fucking pointless, dude. Come on, like, what is this? It doesn't accomplish anything, man. I mean, good, I guess, if the people of Taiwan feel more safe, but I think it's an illusion of safety, man. This just makes things more unstable and the world more dangerous, in my opinion. It accomplishes a ton. Again, man, I'm just going to have to disagree with you. This is just the latest Democrat-led provocation this year over China, which has long made clear that it sees the issue of sovereignty over Taiwan, or sovereignty over Taiwan, as a core national interest over which it is willing to go to war. House Speaker Representative Nancy Pelosi's controversial August visit to Taiwan inflamed tensions and sparked Chinese reprisals in the form of threatening military drills and breaking off dialogue with Washington. Since then, at least 3 more delegations of U.S. officials have replicated Pelosi's trip, while the U.S. Navy has continued a long pattern of sending warships through Chinese waters. So, I mean, what can you call that besides provocation, man? You know? And because of this, China has been doing more war games closer and closer to Taiwan's borders. They've been sending missiles that like land in the water right up on, Taiwan, and just it's playing with the tinderbox, man. Like, and it could explode at any moment, you know. I also wanted to kind of go into a little bit of some more of the repercussions from all this bolstering of Taiwan in this article right here. So this article is titled "China Cuts Off Vital U.S. Contacts Over Pelosi Taiwan Visit." This article is by Ellen, Nick Meyer, Zeke Miller, and David Rising. China cut off contacts with the United States on vital issues Friday, including military matters and crucial climate cooperation. As concerns rose that the communist government's hostile reaction to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit could signal a lasting, more aggressive approach towards its U.S. rival in the self-ruled island. China's move to freeze key lines of communications compounded the worsening relations from Pelosi's visit and from the Chinese response with military exercises off Taiwan, including firing missiles that splashed down in surrounding waters. After the White House summoned Chinese ambassador China's ambassador Qin Gang later Thursday to protest the military exercises. White House spokesperson John Kirby on Friday condemned the decision to end important dialogue with the United States as irresponsible. The White House spokesman blasted China's provocative actions since Pelosi's trip to Taiwan, which China claims as part of its territory. But Kirby noted that some channels of communications remain open between military officials in two countries. He repeated daily assurances that the U.S. had not changed its policy toward the communist mainland and the self-ruled island. So again, you already see those repercussions, the deepening of distrust and hostility towards these two huge superpowers, man. Like I said, we can agree to disagree, I guess. I just think that it's not good, man. I think there needs to be nuance in these situations. I think that de-escalation is the name of the game, you know? So that's that article right there. What is our next article? All right, so this is crazy, man. So for a long time, the right has been kind of in the shadows with this plot to rewrite the Constitution. I think the right is a lot better at creating grassroots movements, and I mean a reason why they're better at it is one of the reasons why they're better at it is because they have the money, like these like, you know, right-wing billionaire weirdos who want to play God support these movements because it helps them consolidate power and curtail your human rights. So let's get into this article. This article comes from Common Dreams, and it was written by Julia Conley. Warnings mount over right-wing plot to rewrite U.S. Constitution. Government watchdogs are warning that the Republican takeover of state legislatures in recent years could imminently have major implications for the United States, as a right-wing effort to hold a new constitutional convention appears closer than ever to being realized. On Monday, former Democratic U.S. Senator Russ Feingold wrote in an op-ed at The Guardian that Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution allows the document to be amended, either with amendments being proposed by 2/3 of Congress and ratified by 3/4 of the states, or through a method that has never been tested, the establishment of a new constitutional convention. To hold a new convention, 2/3 of all state legislatures, 34 total, must apply to hold the gathering, where lawmakers would have broad freedom to change the Constitution however they saw fit. 3/4 of states would have to ratify their proposed amendments. As the Democratic Party expended considerable effort on passing federal legislation during the Obama administration, ACLU communications strategist Rotimi Adeoye, ACLU communication strategist Rotimi Adeoye wrote at the Daily Beast last month, Republicans focused on taking control at the state and local level, with Democrats losing 13 governorships and 816 legislative seats between 2008 and 2016. So I know that these state races and state legislators don't get as much attention as, the Senate and Congress and all these, national senators and Congress people. But having control over the state legislature is incredibly important. And that's how the right has been able to pass these insane laws in certain places, like curtailing LGBTQ rights and cracking down on free speech, like all this crazy bullshit, man. States have a lot of power, and we need to recognize that and get people in those positions to stop this crazy bullshit. If they change the Constitution, man, that's pretty much game over for us, There's a ton of super bigoted, super evil, just weirdos, dude, who want to create a Christian nationalist society in the United States. And anyone who doesn't fall into that category of a white, straight Christian is going to be hurt if something like this passes. Now, I do think that the Constitution needs to be changed. I think it needs to guarantee more human rights, like the right to housing, the right to food, all that kind of stuff. But as it stands now, the right is in a lot better position to use a man. What am I trying to say? To like use this situation of changing the Constitution to their benefit instead of our benefit. You know. Feingold noted that if right-wing advocates for a new convention like the Convention of States Project and the American Legislative Exchange Council get their way, there would be few limits on how Republicans can change the Constitution. There is nothing in the Constitution about how delegates would be selected, how they would be apportioned, or how amendments would be proposed or agreed to by delegates. And there is little useful historical precedent that lends insight to these important questions. This means that nearly any amendment could be proposed at such a convention, giving delegates enormous power to engage in political and constitutional redrafting. The framers left no rules, wrote Feingold in his new book, The Constitution in Jeopardy. In this uncertainty lies great danger and possibly great power. The former Wisconsin senator wrote at The Guardian that Republicans could use a new convention to craft an amendment banning abortion care, strip Americans of voting rights, gut federal anti-poverty programs, and further threaten people's right to be safe from gun violence by enshrining their interpretation of the Second Amendment. The Convention of States Projects has received millions of dollars from the right-wing Donors Capital Fund and has been endorsed by Republican governors Ron DeSantis of Florida and Greg Abbott of Texas, Senators Rand Paul and Marco Rubio, and influential conservative commenters Sean Hannity and Ben Shapiro. Representative Jody Arrington, a strong proponent of a new Jesus Christ. Representative Jody Arrington of Texas, a strong proponent of a new constitutional convention, recently proposed legislation to direct the National Archives to conduct an official count of all the states that have called for a convention at various times. They're very close, man. The last time I checked, I think they only need like 5 more states, you know? So they're getting the ball rolling. It's a scary proposition, man. I've said it before. The right has felt like they have been kicked down and pushed to the side by society for a long time because of the social progress, you know, like economically, we're just as fucked up as we've been since, you know, the Reagan era, but they don't like this and they're fighting hard to curtail human rights, man. It's not going to be pretty. So like I always say, we have to take a page out of their playbook and do these things, man. We have to fight more dirty. We have to engage in the political struggle much more seriously, man, you know, and build that grassroots up to prevent shit like this from happening, you know. So all right, that's our second article. We're gonna I think that's just gonna do it for articles today, man. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the reactions after I take a quick break. I'm sorry, I know the flow isn't so great today, man. There's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days. Give me like 5-10 minutes, man. My bad.
Martha's Vineyard's an idyllic
All right, I'm back. That first half was fucking rough. I'm sorry, man. I got low energy today because, I quit smoking bud. Like, I decided, all right, I can't smoke anymore. Like, I gotta just freaking, because, like, smoking bud and then also trying to do the streaming shit. Streaming takes a lot of time and, like, mental effort, you know? Like, it's just not a good combination. And so, like, now my dopamine levels are just mad low, bro, you know, so I don't got a lot of energy, but I'm gonna try to pump myself up and get through this bullshit and try to be a fucking professional, man. So our first video that we're going to be reacting to is from my favorite goofy goober, Steven Crowder. It's just some stupid, wacky shit, man. So he's got this gay man, supposedly, blurred out because he doesn't want scary Antifa to fucking come find him and, I don't know, give him a wedgie or something, bro, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if we're just one of his fucking buddies, you know, pretending to be a gay dude to say all this stupid shit. You already know how Crowder is, man. Like, in my eyes, he's one of those people who is only in it for the money, and he's also extremely insecure, dude. You know, like, this is the man who wears holsters in his freaking studio to talk to people, man. Like, come on. But shit, let's get right into the video.
LG and B to be separate from everything else. They know in 20 years, if this continues, it's going to be normalized.
Yeah.
And who knows what comes after this.
Yeah, that's the whole point, to normalize it, so fucking weirdos like Crowder won't be making videos just shitting on people for trying to live their lives.
I know.
You know, the trans agenda, the pedophile agenda, whatever.
Classic, man. They always try to group in fucking pedophiles with people who aren't straight or fucking, you know, on the typical, like, or who aren't cisgender, man, you know? Like, they've been doing that since the 1950s with gay people, man. Probably even further back. I really don't understand the insane paranoia on the right when it comes to like retaliation from the left, man. Like, we did a video yesterday, man. Like, right-wing terrorism is the #1 internal threat in the U.S. right now, according to the FBI, man. Like, there was one leftist terror attack since 9/11, bro. Like, they're making up enemies. They literally are just scared of the fucking boogeyman under their bed, bro. It's ridiculous.
Latino American, very gay, and he's to the right of Attila the Hun, and he's so scared. He's like, man, I've lost friends just because I didn't vote for Biden. He's like, these people are the most unacceptable.
Yeah, if he's fucking right of the Attila the Hun, I wouldn't want to be his friend either, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus.
In the world.
I've had 2 people walk out on me on dates because I said, Trump's not that bad. That's all I said.
That's all you said?
And then they walk off. Hey, you're gonna pay your bar.
I mean, there's a reason for that, bro. I mean, #1, he's a fucking war criminal. I mean, every president's a war criminal, but I digress. And I mean, man, fuck, man. I can't do this today. I'm sorry, man. I do not have the mojo. I do not have the energy. I'll be back tomorrow, man. My bad.